Ryan Neiman, Brian Wilson, Mary Catherine Ham, today's newsmakers, and you. The Morning Majority, 630. WMAL.
It's 8:07 on the Morning Majority, and there is a debt deal framework of sorts. The numbers are dropping right now, so people are sort of picking through, trying to figure out what exactly is on the table here. We got John Fund on the phone. We're going to be taking calls this hour.
Let me mention that we are going to take some calls after we get through talking to John Fund here. And you might want to get queued up on the phone lines at 1-888-630-WMAL. That's 1-888-630-9625. I know it's been a while since we've got some calls because we've had such a stellar lineup of guests this morning. But we will have a chance to hear what you think about it. And if you disagree with me and Mary Catherine that this is probably a good deal that should pass, then you go to the front of the line. We'll put you on first.
Well, and here's John Fund, an editor at the American Spectator. John, how you doing this morning?
Pleasure, Mary Catherine.
Good. How are you feeling about this debt deal framework?
Groggy. Let's just say Congress is just like the late-night college student who waits till the last minute to finish its homework.
Yep. That's that was kind of my style, so I relate to it. But as far as the substance goes, have you looked into any of it? Do you feel like anyone's a winner here coming out?
Well, there's a two-part answer to that. In policy terms, this doesn't begin to dig us out of the fiscal hole that the last 10 years have brought us, but it's a down payment. Now, in political terms, I think it's clear that there's a reason why liberals are so furious with President Obama. He laid down a bunch of markers earlier this year. He said last year, look, we're not going to seek a debt limit deal at the same time we extend the Bush tax cuts because we're going to trap the Republicans later in the year into raising taxes and breaking the no new taxes pledge that Americans for Tax Reform laid down. And this is going to be a perfect trap. Well, Obama had to concede on point after point after point. So now you have the spectacle of Democrats and liberals saying, look, he's the worst thing we could imagine. He's a loser.
Yeah.
He didn't get what he wanted. He had to concede ground to the Republicans on their terms, and he sold us out while at the same time appearing weak and vacillating. So I think in policy terms, it's one small step forward. In political terms, it just shows the profound weakness of Obama as a negotiator and why Democrats are calling him the new Jimmy Carter.
Well, yeah, there was a great quote that someone brought up, a flashback to a news conference last year in discussing the tax compromise at the time, asking why didn't he put the debt ceiling into that compromise. And the reporter asked, well, don't you think the Republicans will have a lot of leverage when this comes up? And he said, no, I don't understand what you mean by that they would have a lot of leverage. Well, he found out.
Well, remember, Obama was the most inexperienced president we've elected in decades, and it's now showing. Regardless of whether he's liberal or very liberal, he just doesn't know how Washington works, and he got lassoed.
Yeah.
John, I haven't counted votes in a while up on Capitol Hill, but my sense of it is that this will probably get through the Senate with the needed votes. And it will be a heavier lift, a harder lift in the House of Representatives. Go through the scenario of what would happen if the Tea Party conservatives stand their ground and somehow the deal is torpedoed. Who would then the stink of the bad economy fall upon?
Well, I think if it fails, it'll fail because both groups, namely the progressive /liberal Democrats and the Tea Party conservatives, pull out of the deal because they're both equally unhappy with this.
Yeah, you're right.
And I think it's now a game of chicken. Who's going to take the blame if the stock market falls 700 points in one day, as it did the day after the first TARP vote failed? Now, that was a temporary drop, but it still spooked everybody. So I think it's a game of chicken now. Who gets the political blame if this falls through? I think both sides are nervous enough. They're going to walk right up to the line and say, we're not sure who's going to get the blame. We might as well take the heat from our base and vote for it.
And so you think it will go through both houses?
Reluctantly, but look, they have almost no alternative because the market's open every day, and the Chinese are already yelling at us about being fiscally imprudent, and we have, of course, a potential downgrade in our debt rating very quickly. I think that's going to happen, by the way, regardless of whether or not this passes. But I think the economic pressures of the markets are such that they're going to override the political prejudices.
Talk about Nancy Pelosi, because, I mean, she has been very noncommittal about this deal. She has turned up her nose every time a deal has been proposed. She doesn't like the fact that the Tea Party conservatives are having such sway over the entire Congress. I'm guessing she's probably not going to whip this thing very enthusiastically.
No, I think there may be only 80, 90, or 100 Democrats who vote for this, but they're going to. For the reasons I just stated. But Nancy Pelosi is furious with Barack Obama for the following reason. In the 1990s, she watched Bill Clinton triangulate against the Democratic Congress and against the Democrats in Congress, and he did it very well. He basically played off the Republicans against the Democrats in Congress. But he was skillful at it. Obama is triangulating, without admitting it, against the Democrats in Congress, and he's awful at it.
Yeah.
So Nancy Pelosi, as a political professional, is just looking at this guy and saying, amateur.
Right. Triangulating that actually results in results is one thing, but this is different. I wanted to ask you, as far as redistricting goes, it seems to me like some of these Democrats are in harder districts, or are looking at being in harder districts to win than they were before, and that might make some of them more likely to vote for something like this.
Well, there are not as many blue dog Democrats as there used to be, but there's still Democrats who worry that if they get the blame for an even worse economy. Remember, this economy is now looking as if it could go into a double-dip recession. The last time we had an economy this bad was 1980, when Jimmy Carter was running for re-election. And you know what happened then.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a blowout. So the Democrats are saying, look, the Republicans had two bad elections in a row, 2006, 2008, because of the economy. What if we're going to have two bad elections in a row, 2010, 2012? A whole bunch of people who didn't expect to lose lost in 2010. I'm not completely safe, especially because redistricting is going to change my district in ways I may not even know yet.
That's right. Well, listen, John, thanks for joining us here this morning on the Morning Majority. Always good to have you.
Great. Enjoy your calls. I'm sure they'll come fast and furious.
Oh, yes, they're stacking up now like planes over